And now underneath where that waste was, it looks like villages, like we're excavating whole worlds that had been buried in waste.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to see what look like tiny people coming out of their homes and looking up at the sky.
Mm-hmm. They're not happy.
No, they're very unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
What now? In order to heal the root causes of the pain and swelling in two separate areas, and whatever those symptoms represent in such a way, is to create deeper, denser dimension worlds that work for all categories of deeper, denser dimension sentience.
They're upset.
They're very upset.
Yes.
And,
they have revenge feelings.
yes, big revenge feelings. They feel as if something important to them was taken away, and that they want to get back at whoever did it, and they're shaking their fists at the sky. And they're very upset.
They intend to get even.
They do intend to get even. And they're clustered here at the back of the energy body.
Can we start correcting all the errors, no matter who made them?
Yes.
It was just a goof.
It was just a mistake. Starting to correct all errors, no matter who made them. It feels like in the culture of these small presences who want revenge, there are legends like the world is built on the back of an enormous turtle. And it feels like as we're starting to correct these errors, that turtle is standing and is starting to walk. Does that make sense? And he seems to be walking north. North and straight up.
Is he on the ancient interdimensional highway?
No, he's slightly to the left, but it feels like that would be a good place for him to be, and maybe we can help him get there. If he would like to get there, and it feels like he does, and it's really hard to see, but I can feel it, and so we can just move over to it. Now, what it feels like is that the turtle has reached the ancient interdimensional highway and has realized that he's dead and that he should go up and not stick around in this density anymore. He didn't understand that before when he was just walking, but now standing on the highway he sees the rings of light above him. And it feels pretty clear that I'm no longer alive. And that maybe all those little vengeful presences who have been living on my back are also no longer alive. And maybe we should get out of this dimension. And I feel the turtle's head looking upward, and this is a good thing. So I'm looking up, finding the rings of light. I can help you go up if you'd like. I think that's a nod from the big turtle. Okay, here we go. Here we go. And now he's starting to move up. And maybe we open this up for all presences like him. Which I guess would be all the dead presences. All the dead presences who are stuck in denser dimensions.
And maybe who don't know they're dead.
Maybe who don't know they're dead. Which is really not uncommon. Clearing up.
I think it's by far the larger part of dead presences.
I also do.
It's a common confusion. It's such a small change.
It's true.
Our experience of sentience.
We don't even notice it.
We don't notice it.
There's a pretty good flow of souls now moving up the ancient interdimensional highway. Many of them look as though they were very small, maybe like bacteria. And even smaller, like smaller subatomic particles. And many of them feel like they've been dead for a really long time. Like millennia. And unless I'm wrong, it looks like these dead presences are blowing through that room where the ant farm had been. Like they're cutting a hole in the sky of that whole dimension.
It usually doesn't go over very well.
No, usually doesn't. Calling straight up for those presences who like to use the host life for their interdimensional activities on behalf of the greater good. Calling for those presences to join us now. And asking those presences, what now, in order to heal the root causes of the pain and swelling in 2 separate areas, and whatever those symptoms represent, in such a way as to create deeper, denser dimension worlds that work for all categories of deeper, denser dimension sentience. What now? There's a popping open feeling in the head, and it feels like that flow of dead presences has now popped up into another space that was much bigger than the last space they were pumping into. I might need to turn up a dial to see better because I don't see the larger presences at this space yet. So turning up the dial of visibility so we can see better what's going on at this higher dimension. I feel very large hands. They feel helpful, not unhelpful. They don't seem to be consciously aware of the flow of dead presences moving into their space.
No.
Only that there is something happening.
Yes, they can feel something's happening.
They can feel something is happening. And they're not sure what it is, but now it's like they're starting to walk as if they're sleepwalking. Calling for those presences who like to use the host life for their interdimensional activities on behalf of the greater good. Well, it feels like these large hands aren't aware consciously that they like to use the host life for their interdimensional activities on behalf of the greater good. It's more like I feel this feeling and I think this thought while I'm doing this thing. Does that make sense?
They're unaware they're tapping into a sentient presence.
Yes, that's the feeling.
Everything is sentient.
That's true.
It's a profound disconnect from the nature of reality.
That's true.
But there it is, and how are we all exactly like this? This is extremely common.
That's true. What now?
It doesn't seem like any of this is with intent. It just seems like an amalgam of errors.
Yeah, this is true.
So maybe a good error correct.
Correcting the errors all up and down through all these dimensions, all the errors that have contributed to the condition that created these symptoms of pain and swelling in the 2 separate areas without discernible cause. Whatever the root cause of those symptoms are, and whatever they represent, correcting all the errors that contributed to them, all up and down, stretching through these dimensions as high up as I can reach, and as low down as I can reach. There are so many errors, it feels like an unending stream of mistakes, small mistakes, that didn't seem connected. Correcting the errors.
What is important for us to notice about this situation?
What is important for us to notice about this situation?
The interdimensionality of experience.
Yes. And how at all these dimensions there doesn't seem to be outright malicious intent.
Good people.
Good people, and all of them doing things they believe to be not bad things. And some of them believe to be very, very good things.
Causing pain for a resource they aren't aware exists or has sentience.
That's true.
And how are we exactly like this?
Exactly like this. Siding up through that dimension with the really big hands, intending to get through that dimension to the highest power we can connect with right now, who really likes to use the host life for their interdimensional activities on behalf of the greater good, intending to send this up to that highest presence. Sending it up. And as we send it up, it feels like the closing process itself carved a new hole in the sky, and the dead presences are shooting up the interdimensional highway through that new hole, and it sounds like a flock of birds flying past.
I hear it.
Going up.
Adios. Which means to God.